Hey guys, and welcome back. This week we're going to be looking at the DJI Air 3 with the goggles 3. Now I've been waiting to try this for a while, and this was the right time to slot it in as I've covered most of the Avata 2. This is such a good drone. It's actually my favorite camera. And I was wondering how good it would be with the Goggles 3 experience. If you're new, hello, my name is Demetrius and I create videos on drones, photography and everything in between, and it's a mixture of entertaining and educational content. If you want to learn more about drones, photography or everything in between, subscribe to stay up to date. Now let's take a look at whether the Goggles 3 paired with the Air 3 lives up to the hype. So in this video, I'm going to cover the following: setup, flight experience, settings, and missing features, and then my final thoughts. So let's start off with the setup. Now this is straightforward when you're in the goggles. Make sure the Air 3 or the Mini 4 Pro, because it also works with that too. Turn on the goggles, turn on the drone, turn on your controller as well, whether you're using the DJI RC2 or the RCN2, however they name it. And then go to main menu, settings, and then in the status menu, all you have to do is go from switch from Avata 2, and then you pick whether you're using the Air 3 or the Mini 4 Pro. And that's it. You wait for the goggles to reboot, and you should be connected. Now, if you do have the DJI RC2 and this is powered on, the screen will go blank. Now take note of this because I'll explain later in the video what I mean when the screen goes blank and some features that may be missing. Now, before I jump into the actual settings on what's available when pairing the Goggles 3 with the DJI Air 3 or Mini 4 Pro, let's talk about the flight experience and what that's actually like. Now, if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that I've been flying the DJI R2 for several weeks now, and I enjoy the FPV experience. I enjoy the immersive experience. So I was thinking, why wouldn't I enjoy the experience with the Air 3? And for the most part, it was interesting. Obviously, I'm used to very fast moving pace drone like the Avata 2 and the Gepard C Mark V when paired with the Goggles V2. So the drone was a little bit slower. It definitely felt more secure in the air. Head tracking works with the motion controller and pairing it with either your Air 3 or Mini 4 Pro, and it is wild. It's just like FPV mode on steroids, put it that way. Very disorientating. The other thing to note here is that your customizable buttons underneath C1 and C2, and even the roll wheels here, you can preset these before you connect the goggles. So whatever they're set to, you can still use them with the Goggles 3. So for instance, as default, right jog wheel here is normally zoom, and I changed mine to exposure value because I don't like digital zoom if you've been following this channel for a while. Changing the exposure value works with that. And then having the gimbal tilt down when pressing the C1 button here on the left, and even this one here would be cruise control. However, cruise control does not work when you paired with the Goggles 3. That's one thing I noticed. So you have to make sure these customizable buttons are changed prior for setting off with the goggles, because you can't change them when you're within the goggles. You also have all the OSD elements, but not every element is displayed as you would normally see on the DJI RC2 or when using the RCN2 paired with your phone. But I'll explain a little bit more later in the video on what's actually missing with features when using the Goggles 3 with the DJI Air 3 or Mini 4 Pro. I'm just gonna say Air 3 throughout this video and not both because it's becoming a mouthful. The other thing I did test as well, because I do have the DJI Air 3 wide angle lens, which is pretty dope. And so yeah, when I put that on, you do get a wider field of view using the Goggles 3, and you can even see props in view, which is pretty cool. And I have shown this in a previous video, and if you wanna learn more about the wide angle lens for the DJI Air 3, you can check out up here. Overall, the experience using the Goggles 3 with the Air 3 was interesting. I can't say I was overly ecstatic, but I also wasn't completely disappointed. But let's move on to what settings are available you get when pairing the Goggles 3 with the Air 3. Let's start off with safety first, and within the main menu under safety, you do have access to all your height thresholds, for instance, your return to home point, your maximum altitude, etc. Even your distance, you can change all those parameters, which is great. You also have the ability to change whether the obstacle avoidance is brake, bypass or off, even the bypass speed, whether you have this set to standard or nifty. You even have the radar map, and that essentially just means if you're near an obstacle, it shows you the red lines within the screen, not the actual map. That's coming, it's in a moment. Now let's move on to photo and video mode, what the options you get. Now within photo mode, you have the choice of the aspect ratio, so either 4:3 or 16:9, and this is what we got previously, so there's no changes there. And you can also change the white balance. That's pretty much it. You can also change from auto to manual, but it's a bit challenging in order to adjust the manual setting when you don't have full control of the RC2 or your controller with the drone. And it's a bit slow with doing it with the 5D button on the Goggles 3. So yeah, that's it. That's all you get with photo mode. And with video mode, again, you have the option for auto and manual, but again, restricted with being able to customize these buttons pretty quickly on the fly using the Goggles 5D button. You don't have access to anything on the controller. Now, quality was the one that shocked me. You have 4K 60 or 1080p 60, that's it. You only have two quality options, and I was a bit shocked because we all know how capable of this drone is and all the options you get, and they've only given you two options with the goggles, that's it. And then you have your white balance settings if you want to adjust that too. That's it for video. There isn't much choice unless you go into manual and then fix your settings manually, but there's not much else that you can change. If you go into the main menu system and adjust the camera settings, you can add grid lines, you can change RAW to JPEG, and then you can format the SD card as well. But I found that the settings were pretty limited when pairing the Goggles 3 with the Air 3. Now let's move on to what's actually missing when flying the Air 3 this way. Guys, get a pen and paper because the list is quite long, and this is what made me not enjoy the full flight experience with the drone because there were so many features missing. I don't even have a notepad. Do I have a notepad? I don't have a notepad, so just imagine I have a notepad here. First thing I noticed that was missing is having a map or vision assist on the bottom left-hand corner of the DJI controller. This is what we're normally used to, and this would have been a big plus that if we could have the goggles and have a map and vision assist in the left-hand corner. Why don't we have that within the goggles? Especially as you lose your surrounding vision because now the goggles are shielding you, you don't have a view of your surrounding area. I can hear people, I can hear planes. Without the goggles, it'd be no problem because you can just look up in the sky, check it, and it's all good. If we had the vision assist and the map in the corner, at least we'll be able to use the vision sensors to know what's behind us if we're flying backwards or if we're flying sideways. I know we have obstacle avoidance, but why wasn't that included? I would have thought that would be one of my favorite features if that was there. The other modes. This is probably the biggest one. If you subscribed to this channel last year and you followed me along because of the DJI Air 3 and we covered every single mode and feature that was available, you would know already that there's a ton of missing. If we only have photo and video, that's it. Photo mode. Auto exposure bracketing, burst mode, time shot, none of that is there. Video mode, we have no night mode, we have no slow mode. Video quality, where's their 4K 30? I normally film in 4K 30 with the Air 3, not an option. So now I have to use more space, and then 4K 60 is pretty much redundant with a cinematic drone because you don't really slow it down, you want it to speed it up because otherwise it'd be too slow. But there's no other option. Like, where are the options? The histogram, that would be nice if we have the histogram so we can see whether it's overexposed or not. Just the little see-through one that's in the top hand corner. Why is that not an option? Master shots, quick shots, hyperlapses, panoramas. None of those options are there. Waypoints, not listed. Tracking, not available. Like, this is the other thing. If we had active track, we could set it. I don't know how we'd be able to draw the box. Maybe we could look at it and set it. I don't know how that'd be figured out. Or if we had the screen available to be able to use this as a touchscreen, select the object that we're looking at, track it, and then when active track's enabled, all we could essentially do is just control the gimbal movement of the camera while the drone is flying. Essentially a hybrid version of a two-man operation with a drone. So it's having like two operators, you're just one person, but now the drone is tracking, you can just control the camera and do all the smooth movements. Why is that not available? Oh, this one's annoying. I've been requesting this for a while. Why is focal length not an option to change? Like, I'm not talking about digital zoom. I'm talking about being able to switch between the 24mm and the 70mm using a customizable button. I did check on the button customizations before I set off to be able to change them. And there was a button that says adjust focal length, but this doesn't work. For some reason, just nothing happens. And it's just digital zoom, not the actual focal length change. So I don't know if it's a firmware update that needs changing or if it's a glitch, but if we had that available, at least I could use the jog wheel here just to switch between 24 and 70. Also, why don't we have the screen available when we paired it with the Goggles 3? Like, why does it have to be blanked out? Why can't we just like take them off, adjust some settings, maybe check the map, have it as a second screen, put the goggles back on and continue flying? And that way have access to all the features if it's not capable. Why is this not all completely in the OSD? For the amount of features that you have available, and this is my favorite drone, like, why don't we have the full set of features? Because can you imagine how cool it would be? Tell me your thoughts. Have you tried pairing the Goggles 3 with your DJI Air 3 or Mini 4 Pro? Have you noticed the lack of features available? What is your flight experience? Do you enjoy it? Do you wish it had more? Do you wish it had all these features? Or is there anything I've missed that you think that should be added? Now let's move on to my final thoughts with using the Goggles 3 with the DJI Air 3. I don't think it's ready. Like, it's nice, it's there. For instance, with the DJI Vata 2, it's no problem because it's still a new drone. I'm still going through the videos, for instance, and I'm enjoying that, but I only need video mode. I don't need tracking and waypoints and the rest of it. I just want to be able to fly, do maneuvers, and do cool stuff. However, with the DJI 3, a fully capable drone, by the way, if you are thinking whether you're trying to choose a cinematic drone or an FPV drone, I highly recommend a cinematic drone because you'll get a lot more out of it than you would an FPV drone because of all the features. It just feels limited and restricted when we know what this drone is capable of and all the rich features available to get the most out of what you're trying to do, whether it's photo or video or tracking a subject or doing waypoints and just being there to monitor with a first view experience. I think the tracking feature will have the most potential and benefit, in my opinion, because that way it will just, the drone can finally do what it's supposed to do and you can finally nail your shot properly because you have a good sight. There's no light leaks or anything, because it can be difficult sometimes when you're trying to track on this and the screen. It might be a bright sunny day, whereas if you have the goggles, you can really nail your shot. Also, having the map and vision assist in the bottom corner will be super useful. The fact that it's not there, I was not comfortable not being able to see behind me. Now with FPV, you usually just fly the way you're facing and you're not so worried. But with this type of drone, I want to see my surrounding areas. I want to see where I am on the map. I want to be able to use the vision assist system where you can look out the vision sensors to see what's behind you if you're doing a pullback shot, or either side of you if you're going left or right. Also, if you could just use the screen on our controllers here or on your phone, whatever you're using, just to customize some buttons. So if the drone's in the air and it's already hovering and it's stable, change what you need to do, change into panorama mode, hit set, and then you can just watch through the goggles. That might be a bit of a rant, but it is my thoughts. I did go out and test this. I went open-minded and I just wasn't overly impressed because I wanted to use my drone to its full ability and I wasn't able to do that. Now this leaves me with 1 week before I leave Canada and end up moving to Cyprus. And if you've been following along on the community post, you know that you'll be expecting next week will be a video on how to fly a drone in Canada aimed at all experiences. So this is all the knowledge that I have gained since I've been here, being able to fly a drone, particularly in the controlled airspace in downtown Toronto. So if there's anything you want to learn about the DJI Vata 2, DJI Air 3 or the Sony 6700, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, let me know what camera you're using or what drone you're flying. Are you looking to get into FPV and what's on your shortlist? Subscribe for more videos on drones, photography and everything in between, and YouTube recommends you watch this video next. Peace.